So I think people entertaining and dwelling a bunch of nonsense, betting, whatever they're doing to see how people have been affected. They're trying to see how people have been affected. So without even understanding how people have been affected, they just want to convince people, do people on repeat possibly method to people narratives, to do wrong math on them, to fit them where they belong, based on creating a bunch of weird scenarios to justify or redeem themselves. And then when they get exposed, whenever virus groups get exposed, then they try to flip the script, try to convince, try to do a specific moment or specific element or whatever they're doing to try to win me or somebody else over, to then go off of with duping, believing, making people partake lies, create lies. And last resort, whenever they fail everything, they do some type of desperate attempt, desperate move with some type of a dirty games or possibly trying to force people against their will, get demands, and then moving forward that particular style. So whoever these groups are, whatever dumb thing that game plan they're playing on themselves, trying to drag people in the process, all has to be known, stopped, and prevented, so no one's forced against their will. Nothing can be an unpuzzle. So if all this is already not abundantly known, can be abundantly known, must be abundantly known, for everything to work correctly. Otherwise, nothing is the way something is supposed to be, and people are wondering why. They have to wonder why. So while everything is good, people then different groups are taking different turns, doing different playouts to try to see what is what or whatever they're doing. They've made this into a game or something. Literally, every single person is supposed to know one another and be together, and how I understand everything is should be. While there's groups breaking people off with convincing, conditioning, duping, abuse of power, possibly attempting to divide people and go against people. So I think what these groups are doing is realistically failing, calling themselves successful, going after the weak or something. In other words, their method have been doing a long time. And the only problem is whatever they've been doing was unjust for a long time. So I know what people are doing. They're doing some type of a psychological test with psychology, fix within a fixed control within a control. And then people are possibly doing different types of agreements, different types of bets, making different types of choices and decisions in terms of what they're perceiving to be real. So I think the reaction, the effects that people are giving is so off. It's literally part of the problems of why problems may be persisting. Yet some people lose bets, so then they say, okay, well, you lost something, so now you have to react this way. Whatever people believe, whatever gets fed, temporary or everlasting, is what occurs. No matter what, anything, it doesn't matter what you believe, what you think to be true, anything, whatever anything is, think in terms of always being part of the everlasting. So, basic principles, visions, thoughts, words, doings, everything to do with feeling, partaking, supporting, choosing, needing, wanting, entertaining, buying, selling, creating, all has to be true of what people are doing. Wherever they go, wherever they do, in terms of all elements being the most absolute answer. Everything else is false. Yet some people are then doing everything here and there, everything scrambling, to try to attain everything they can. The problem is they're doing something wrongly. They're not understanding. They're having a wrong effect. They're receiving information. Nothing is the same. Everything is temporary still. And there's problems because people are doing something wrongly and expecting different results. And you can't do something wrongly and expect different results. People are stopping people from doing what they need to do because of the weird effects that they're having. some people, I don't know what they're saying. They're saying something to do with their, them losing. No one can lose. The nonsense virus can lose because why? Everybody's unjust. Excuse me. Everybody's just, and those specific groups are unjust, going against what is just. And they're having a wrong effect. They're having a wrong effect on people's lives and claiming that they're correct. Trying to make people accustomed to a bunch of virus like behavior, and they keep losing. While they're acting like, oh yeah, everything is good, and keep losing. So those are nonsense groups that are doing some type of a wrong behavior and putting their infection everywhere they go, and nothing is working correctly. They're wondering why something is not working correctly. They're trying to blame other people, those specific groups. So a lot of people, they can't determine something because they're lost, they're confused, they're not true. So they tend to take their personal issues or personal anger on something or someone else. These groups are living in fear. They're saying, "Oh, well, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow," you know, and they're like acting out on their weird feeling. That's not how any of this will work. I am noticing that every single day, whenever I'm talking, that whatever I'm saying, whatever anything may be, doesn't matter, is making sense in terms of what people need to hear, so they can make correct choices, decisions. So therefore, nonsense things in terms of whatever anything may be goes away. The thing is I'm not supposed to mention anything. The signification realistically will be that people are so true that I'm not mentioning anything and everything is flowing correctly how everything should be. These dysfunctions, these maths are different people's egotistical minds and narratives that they're thinking in terms of, oh, well, we'll do something because this is what is just, this is what is fair for us being a criminal on people's lives, forcing ourselves in their lives, having a wrong effect, then seeing our reflections and blaming people for our reflections. That's realistically what some groups are doing. And then trying to flip the script on something or someone else. So obvious and repeat. Check that. Because then these groups, you know, they're playing a game on themselves. They're being stupid. They're not allowing the truth to be manifested accordingly, correctly. They're not growing what is true. They're not creating what is true. And they're expecting different results. And so whose problem is anything except their own, you know, in terms of whatever they may be doing that has nothing to do with reality. So their personal issues, they're trying to take their anger on somebody else. Usually they're more harm than good. Be aware that people are not mixed within those mixers too, where they're also more harm than good, and they're mislabeled versus corporates there are. And I believe these groups, they're making a put a creating a problem for themselves and dragging people in the process of the problem. Okay? Imagine something where someone goes and creates a problem on themselves, wherever anything they may go. Then what people are doing is they're creating a problem on themselves, wanting me to be dragged in the process and say, hey, stop the problem. I knock on that door, I do that, I do that, I do that. And then next thing you know, I'm being infected with these nonsense groups. So no one's supposed to be dragged in these nonsense processes. These are all wrong in terms of anything, how people may be feeling or experiencing life. And these groups are very, very harmful to life generally. So they need to get the heck out of reality. They can't be floating around, if you ask me. Okay? Wrong is still wrong. Whatever they're doing is harmful. They think, oh, well, look, if you were true, everything would have been fixed. They're playing that stupid card, you know? They're playing politics expecting different results. They know they cannot be going around doing what they're doing and having a wrong result. So that hence is why they're continuing. They're continuing some type of a thing. Their scheme, their method is to continue and continuing in some type of illogical, wrongful way doing. They're dragging people in the process, continuing. So what are they continuing? Technology should control them. That's all. In terms of those specific virus groups, and made abundantly known in terms of if they're realistically mislabeled or what's going on. In terms of all elements being known, physical, formula, those nonsense groups being stopped for everything to work out correctly. So I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to infect me or somebody else to frame a dumb narrative to then be able to also justify some type of a different type of a doing. So there's a multiple of something maybe going on, not one. So it seems though they're dragging people in the process to continue. The problem is they cannot continue because their continuation is a corruption of reality. So whatever they're doing is they're going around with their stupid program, they're infecting people to partake in a bunch of doings and then claim that people are wrong. Something that makes sense and something that doesn't make sense. In other words, the unjust and just are clashing because then one person is saying we're just, the other person is saying no, we're just, the other person is saying no, we're just, and they're unjust at what they're doing. So I think they're creating a problem and trying to win people, creating a problem of anything that they may be doing. So I personally don't trust them. I think they're problems. They're playing dirty. They're getting themselves in trouble, and they're trying to drag people in the process or threaten people possibly and make people believe that. Remember, anybody can say anything. Doesn't equal that something is true. You have to be true to know what is true, what is false. From my understanding, there's a lot of playouts and narratives and of images that people are trying to put in that is dysfunctional, has nothing to do with reality. So these groups being problematic in the problem that they are, with their illogical mindsets, are trying to dupe many people to believe that they're correct and somebody else is wrong. Yet they're the ones causing a problem, making some people believe that somebody else is wrong. That's how illogical these losers are. Okay? They're bullies. They're dirty game players, and they don't care about anything from my understanding. Because if they did, they wouldn't be continuing in their path of nonsense. Yet they have to make people condition and dupe that they're correct to be able to continue because no one will be putting up with their nonsense. No one will be believing their wrong scenarios. So, seems though a psychological attempt to undermine, to deter, and be able to win people over of what is going on, and some people don't realize what is going on. They just go around, do a bunch of things to try to see what is what, and realistically possibly create a problem. Why can't everybody be the answers in all elements of reality? Seems though something is so well put, so well organized in terms of the answers being, but people are then able to do all these weird schemes and all these weird twists and turns realistically from my perception. So that's what I personally believe. If you don't believe that, then that's your choice. In my understanding, something cannot be this bad. People are making it seem that something is this bad, and then the problem maybe with that is making people accustomed to some type of nonsense and making people accustomed to some type of nonsense in terms of mixing past, present, future may be able to, and getting accustomed to what could have occurred. The mix, what is occurring, is the problem, is the virus of what is occurring. So distinguish, stop all nonsense for everything to be the way something is supposed to be understood correctly is the answer. Because otherwise, some people, what they've done is they're literally created some type of just remember, all those groups have to be known who they are because they have no, they're not making sense with anything. What people did is they cheated, they manipulated something, they changed the story. They said, "Oh, look, this person fits in this carry. This is what happened. Let's test this. Let's see what this equals to." They got the whole story twisted. Is that how anything will realistically be? No. Call me if there's realistically a problem.